I'm Catherine Wright here with inkAID to introduce an amazing product that has been seen worldwide, written widely about, and now coming to you. What this is it's a product that is for inkjet pre-coating, like the same stuff that you would have on your regular photo paper. The difference is this is a bottle that you can apply this coating to any type of paper source or substrate, which is what a paper source or fabric, anything that you would want to use as your base to move through your printer. And what that does is it allows you to get some amazing creative effects in this digital era. So on the website, you can actually visit to get the full line of inkAID products that we have, but I'm going to just show you a couple examples of the products and what they look like and when you might want to use them. The first example is the white pre-coat. This is just a white mat, and what I particularly love about it is you get these wonderful brush strokes. So you're actually creating a surface texture that you print on top of. And the nice thing about this is it's one of a kind. You can do this a million times on the same print and they're all going to come out a little bit differently. And that's really nice for photographers who really enjoyed the wet lab, because you were able to watch your work kind of appear in front of you and you had your hands in it. Because of digital, we're kind of removed from that because we're shooting on a camera that works digitally, it talks to the computer, and then your computer talks to the printer, and you're relatively left out of the fun. So this way you can reintroduce yourself to the process. So again, this was the white matte pre-coat, and I think that it is absolutely spectacular for holding color. That's something that you're going to find in a lot of these different alternative processes, which is this is what something's considered alternative in the sense that it's not a traditional print. But you can find a significant color shift, or it won't hold the vibrancy of a color. And that's one thing that I love about this particular pre-coat is you actually do get that vibrancy. So here is a great crafty example of how you can use inkAID in a regular print to make something very artistic. All this is black cardstock that is acid-free, and we're painting it with the white matte pre-coat. And when we run it through the printer, what happens is we get these great interrupted lines, so it almost looks like this image has just been painted directly onto the paper. It's a super simple process that I'm going to show you how to do. You just want to have some sort of mat set up for your background to just make sure that you don't get this product on your table. We're going to tack down the paper, and we just do that by using some sort of blue painter's tape. Make sure you tack it, detack it on yourself first so that it doesn't rip the corners, and you want to tape it down. Then you want to take your matte pre-coat, make sure that it's nice and stirred, and a foam brush, or you can use a bristle brush, just make sure it's some sort of a plastic brush. And you want to start in the corners and you want to paint it through. Now this pre-coat is a good example of where you're going to need multiple coats to kind of build up that base. So you just start by painting it on in one direction, and usually what I do to be able to get like an edge like this is I actually won't paint it all the way to the edge. I'll leave some sort of a black border because I like that aesthetic. You can, of course, coat the entire thing from side to side. So just dipping a little bit into the pre-coat and painting it directly on the surface of my paper. And then once I have it nice and covered in that way, I'm going to go back over it the opposite way. So I'm going to move it from left to right just to make sure that it's nice and full. And as it starts to dry, you'll start to see the white peak up. And that's really the base that you're going to be able to get the ink on your paper to see. Okay? And again, you're starting to see it curl a little bit, and that's because obviously this is getting wet. So now I'm just going to move it back and forth, and I'm actually going to coat a little bit more. And you can use your judgment on when you think you've added enough. It should be nice and coated, looks relatively even. Then you're going to set this aside to dry. Again, recommended drying time for any of the inkAID products is at least an hour, but household conditions are going to vary. And then you want to add another coat. To do a technique like this, I recommend that you do at least 3 to 4 coats, or when you can start to see a really nice white base, because that's really how you're going to set your color off. If it looks something like this, where it's still a little wet, and you can see a lot of black as opposed to white, you're going to lose a lot of your color because it's going to be absorbed right into that dark. So really the objective here is to create that white base so that you can print your image on, and then you can see those wonderful brush strokes. So here is our white matte pre-coat that we coated on this acid-free craft paper with a black background to be able to make that really intense look just like we had with the other sample. But one of the things that I want to show you is when you dry it, you see how we have all of this curve. Again, you can just simply straighten it out, like using the edge of a table or pressing it in a book, because what happens is when you run it through your printer, you know, only this part is going to be flat. So that's really what you're looking for, is that and the edges. So you see how we have a curl this way. Now we're just going to run it the opposite way to help smooth that out so it's much more flat. And even where it has a little curve up here, that's absolutely fine and will still get through your printer. You may just want to smooth it out just a little bit in case you're concerned about it, but it's just that simple to flatten it out so that it's much more easier to get through. Okay? Next thing that we want to do is we want to bring up our image, and for this example I'm going to show you how to print it in Photoshop. So we just want to bring up whichever image we're going to select for this, and for this one I'm going to just do this farm scene. Again, it's the same process. You just want to go into your print scene. The screen will pop up. Just make sure that your aspect ratio is correct. Under print settings, you want to go into the paper handling and just make sure that your media type is enhanced matte. Something else that I always like to do is just make sure that I do it with a high quality, and I usually take it off of the high speed. I want to give my printer lots of time to accept it through. You can save those settings and then you just click print here. Sometimes if you're actually printing directly to like the size of your paper, 8.5 and 11, sometimes you'll get a little warning that says the image is larger than the paper size. You can just click proceed and it's absolutely fine. So once you hit the print screen, you can just go over and load it in your printer. It will accept it and run it right through. So here's a look at our final pieces. And you'll notice on this one, which was the white pre-coat on the craft paper, we have some negative space here. This is actually where the inkAID didn't cover, so you can see that there actually isn't part of the image there. It just absorbs right into the black. And it's just that simple. You stir, brush, let it dry, and then print it. Thanks so much for stopping by. I hope you found this video informative. To find out more information, visit our website at www.inkaid1.com or find us on Facebook, where we hope to see your success stories.